Greetings, this is the Timeshare Traveler, and today is episode 146. Wow, 146. When things go wrong, what does your timeshare do? That's what I'm talking about today. The overview is a recovery from a mess up. What I appreciated. This is for all those people who have struggled with timeshares. I've had good experience, and this is one of the ones I wanted to go through. Then I have 4 examples. You lose your reservation because room updates are not ready because of some permits. You lose a reservation because the location was overbooked. A promise during a sales presentation is declined. And what does the staff do? And the unit size that you are in is overbooked. And then I'll leave you with the moral of a story. Now, before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my channel. Then I'll be right back. Hang in there. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and WorldMark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter, Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. Okay, now let's talk about recovery. Welcome back. Let's talk about recover from a mess up. What I appreciated. So I've been traveling and living in timeshares for over a year now, so I've had problems occur. And there's huge horror stories on the internet about the timeshare industry, and some of it's probably deserved. There's always truth in everything. My experience has been positive, even when things go wrong. And I've got a series of examples I'm going to go through here of problems to timeshare companies make it right. And actually, in my case, I actually honestly have been able to make it right in all cases. Partially that's because I'm educated, so I know what my rights are. And the first 2 examples I have are Club Wyndham / WorldMark. And the last 2 are Hilton Grand Vacations, those are the 2 major timeshare companies where I have ownership with. So I thought I'd stick with those. And here's one of the things that's interesting. And what I found was the problem gets solved locally. This isn't a corporate issue, although in several cases it was a corporate issue, but it got resolved by working with the local people. And the staff was empowered to solve the customers' problems. That was really good that they have that. And you see it in the hospitality industry, but sometimes that gets lost in the timeshare industry because of I think it's all the sales pressure that's put on people, basically because it's 100% commission. But there also is pride in the staff and resolving the issue. That's what I've felt all along. They're actually quite happy that they can help solve the problem. And I actually feel loyal to both Club Wyndham and Hilton Grand Vacations because of what they've done to make things right for me. So let me just go through the examples now. My first example is really a WorldMark / Club Wyndham's success story. And you lose a reservation because the room updates are not ready. In this case, it was booked in the WorldMark Kona, and they were doing upgrades to the whole unit, so they were closed for a period, and they opened up a booking window, and I booked into it within the 13-month window. And about 2 to 3 months before I was about to go, they wrote me back and said, because of COVID and complicated working with the city, the permits and everything weren't going to get reviewed in time, so my unit wouldn't be ready to be available to do. But luckily, Windham has several other locations, and they actually booked me into the Paniolo Greens, which was actually a 2-bedroom, so it was kind of an upgrade, and I was able to stay there. And again, they sent me an email, and they offered me the opportunity to cancel at no expense to me. But they also actually offered me a better situation, so I was happy to take care of it. And again, this was pretty much done behind the scenes, other than I got the emails. But I was quite happy with the situation that they, something out of their control. The state of Hawaii inspectors were not going to get things done. You can argue they didn't plan it as well, but COVID created quite the wrinkle. But they stepped up to it and made it work, and I was very happy with the result. And I always wanted to stay at the Paniolo Greens anyway, and I did eventually get to stay at the WorldMark Kona. And the other success story I wanted to talk about was also Club Wyndham, and this is actually the one that generated all the. I realized that I had four that I could think of off the top of my head in the last year, and this was the one that sort of did it because it just happened to me. At the day of check-in, I got an email, and it said the location I was booked in was overbooked, and I'd rebooked it at close by. So this was in San Francisco. I was booked in the Fisherman's Wharf. I was booked in the same kind of room at the Canterbury, which actually downtown and in some ways much more classy location, although that's probably an opinion, so I don't mean to put anyone down by that. But there was several challenges, and this is the lesson I would give you for all of these, and that is be an advocate for yourself. So there was a $50 parking fee, and I could park on the street in Fisherman's Wharf or around it, but I couldn't do that downtown San Francisco. And they waived that. And actually, it wasn't standard. I talked to people on the phone to get that done. So you have to be your own advocate. But the other thing there was, I was a stovetop in the Fisherman's Wharf, and I was going to have my kids over for dinner. So I was like, okay, now what? So they managed to get me a electric skillet in the room. There was plenty of space for it. It just wasn't. For some reason, then they did it. They didn't put the burners in the countertops, which was kind of interesting. I thought they could have. But not only that, but they gave me a bottle of wine. Again, they were very apologetic that they, last minute things happens. They get overbooked from time to time, and they were able to accommodate me. And they didn't even know I was an elite member because I booked with Windham Rewards points, so I looked like a person who had Windham Rewards. I didn't look like the platinum owner I did. And they even took care of me in that situation. It wasn't because of my status that they did it. So again, it was another, and again, the staff was super helpful, super, they stayed by me. They gave me the name of the person at the parking place to make sure everything got taken care of. Everything was taken care of. They take care of me. Everything was great. And again, it was all done with the site manager involved. It was all locally done. They took on the responsibility for the corporate sort of reservation system that overbooked and everything. So again, I'm super pleased with Windham WorldMark in regards to this. But wait, there's more. This is the one probably for many people that dealing with the sales teams and the pressure, feeling pressured. This is a Hilton Grand Vacations success story. So I was doing one of the complex transactions. I purchased a resale, and then I was following the guidelines that I'd been given by the corporate people on how to upgrade that resale and make it part of my portfolio in the Hilton HGV Max. And the guidelines were being updated as HGV Max was launching, and they now had Diamond and everything. So they were reworking those policies. So I had started the policy, and they'd slightly changed. So the staff promised me the same policy that was in play when I had started the whole process, but things changed between when that happened and when the deal actually closed. So here's what happened. So the local staff got pushback from corporate because the policy had changed, but I had things in writing because I said I'm not doing this unless it's something in writing, and I actually had cell phone numbers and various things, so I started getting engaged. And again, you still have to be a self-advocate. You can't just be passive. You have to stick up for your rights. But they ultimately went all the way to the EVP in multiple divisions because it was a complex. The resale was from one entity, and the thing I was buying was another entity, and they needed to merge them to be able to make everything work. And so it probably took me 3 to 4 weeks. And I was in constant contact with phones with the director of the site, and they stood by everything. I got everything as promised. I got the upgrade that I needed. It was a great deal for me. I had multiple exceptions to the standard rules, which ultimately that ended up making it more complex to get it resolved. But at the end of the day, they remembered. They didn't try to hide from it. It's the exact opposite you hear from all the horror stories of sales presentations. And again, but maybe it's because I worked with the director when I actually did the deal, and I actually spoke to them and said, "This is complex. Are you going to stand by it?" And they were absolutely, and they put notes, and I had phone numbers and everything. So again, I did a little bit of work to make sure that things went well. At the end of the day, they were even willing to cancel the whole deal if they couldn't make it right for me. they were just going to act like I didn't buy it, give me my money back and everything. So again, I was very pleased with Hilton Grand Vacations, and I own the most with Windham and Hilton Grand Vacations, and I also have the greatest success of them standing up for their owners. So maybe there's a direct correlation to how they've treated me over a decade, and where I have my ownership. The next one's a behind the scenes look. Hilton Grand Vacations. I had booked a 1-bedroom, and I was actually booked a 1-bedroom, and I wanted to do the review of the 1-bedroom because I'd done a review of the 2-bedroom. So I was happily going to my room, and I was getting my camera out to do the view, and I started walking through the unit, and I'm like, wait, there's a 2nd bedroom here. How could that be? But then I called up the front desk, and I said, I'm in a 2-bedroom, but I had only booked a 1-bedroom. And he said, oh, sir, there was a shortage of 1-bedrooms, and they had been overbooked. So because of my elite status, they moved me up to a 2-bedroom just to make sure that there were rooms available for the 1-bedroom. So again, I took that as they did it behind the scenes. But the reality was they wanted to have all the rooms, there were rooms available, and they were able to accommodate people, and they upgraded, and they didn't make any big deal out of it, other than I was very happy to be upgraded. I actually had a 3rd floor, so I actually had not only just from a 1-bedroom regular to I had a 2-bedroom premier, so it was a great room, a corner room. Everything was super great. But again, this was an example where they had a problem. It was kind of behind the scenes, but they took care of their elite customer, or in my case, but I think they would have done it even if I wasn't an elite customer. They were taking care of it. Probably I got the upgrade because I was elite. They chose to give the upgrade to. Well, the moral of the story for me is timeshares companies, for me, have stood by their commitments. Now, I know a lot about how to use the timeshares, so they're very aware that I use all the capabilities, and so they stood by their commitments to me. And again, second point was probably also as important. I'm not mean, but I'm my own advocate. So I do push, and I say, no, you promised this. You moved me. I had a skillet, I had a burner, and whatever. Give me the ability to cook, and I don't want to pay for parking because I wouldn't have had to pay for parking. I didn't ask to be moved. That was yours. So I would stick by what my original proposal was, and ask them to honor what they had done. And that's, again, when you treat people with kindness and respect, but also be firm on what the deal was, that's what happens. And that was my experience. And again, here's what's interesting is often it's the last person you talk to that has to fix all the steps before, not the person who initiated the problem. And again, that's why I say you treat people with respect and kindness, and you have a greater success. So the moral of the story is you need to be an advocate, but you need to be a kind advocate and hold your ground for what the original deal that you had was. Hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.